The point guard's future is officially up in the air. With a June 28th guarantee deadline approaching on Chris Paul's $30.8 million salary for 2023-2024, the Phoenix Suns have reportedly had discussions with the 12-time All-Star about his future with the organization. Translation? The Suns seem disinclined to pay the 38-year-old almost $31 million next season.
It's too much!
Instead, Phoenix will explore any and all options regarding the future Hall of Famer, including potentially parting ways with Paul. But there's a whole bunch of factors here that make this decision a rather complicated one for the Suns, who just fell in the conference semis for a second straight year and have both incentives to keep Paul around and reasons to move on from him. Ultimately, this saga could go in several different directions, and we're going to break down all the possible outcomes for you right now. Sit back, relax, and take this in. First things first, at 38 years old, CP3 isn't the superstar he once was. This past season, in fact, amid the lowest usage rate of his career, Paul put up his worst net rating since 2009-2010, while also setting a new career low in points per game.
Come on, Chris, don't sell yourself short.
By player impact estimate, he was roughly as valuable as Celtics backup point guard and Sixth Man of the Year Malcolm Brogdon and Hornets rookie center Mark Williams. Plus, in addition to his waning impact, Paul was once again plagued by injury issues during the postseason, further cementing his reputation for being unavailable when the games matter most. This time around, Paul suffered a groin strain during Game 2 of the conference semifinals that sidelined him for the final four contests of Phoenix's series loss to the Denver Nuggets. Long story short, he's well into the twilight of his career, and it makes sense that the Suns wouldn't want to guarantee him a top 50 salary for 2023-2024. But for a couple of reasons, moving forward isn't necessarily as simple as just putting him on waivers.
It's not that simple.
For starters, even though he isn't one of the game's top point guards anymore, Paul is still a valuable player to have around on a team with championship ambitions, which, thanks to Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, the Suns are. Perhaps more importantly though, roughly half of Paul's $30.8 million salary for next season is guaranteed. Even if they decide to waive him, they still have to pay him $15.8 million for 2023-2024, and that money does count towards the Suns' salary cap sheet.
There, we're in a tight spot.
The bottom line? There's no obvious solution for the Suns, but here are the various avenues they could go down. First, they could put Paul on waivers, giving every other team in the league the opportunity to claim him at his full salary, which, for the aforementioned reasons, seems like an unlikely but not impossible prospect. And if no team claimed him, Paul would become a free agent and would likely be able to be signed for the veteran minimum. Now this route would open the door for the Suns to bring Paul back at a more palatable salary and keep them farther away from the second luxury tax apron, but it would also allow any other contender to swoop in and acquire one of the most decorated players in league history for next to nothing. Ultimately, if the Suns truly want to keep Paul around, this is a risky move.
It's too risky.
However, if they know they don't want him around and would prefer to clear up some cap space, option number 2 would be waiving Paul and then stretching his remaining salary over the next 5 seasons. Critically, doing so would get the Suns far enough below the luxury tax threshold to use their full mid-level exception. In other words, they'd go from being able to offer a free agent $5 million annually to more than $12 million, which would open up way more possibilities for Phoenix to acquire a role player on the open market. That move, however, would mean the end of Paul's time in Phoenix, as players who are waived and stretched cannot be re-signed. And so the question becomes, can the Suns acquire a player better than Paul using their mid-level exception?
That's the question, Jimmy.
Still though, they've got another option, a trade, which seems like it may be the best option for the Suns. That said, working out a deal is much easier said than done. After all, now that everyone in the league knows that the Suns are considering waiving Paul, Phoenix's leverage in trade talks is virtually non-existent. Plus, even if they found a team open to taking on Paul's hefty salary, the Suns have little draft capital left to sweeten the deal after emptying the proverbial cupboard in the Durant trade. If a CP3 swap is going to happen, the most realistic framework may be packaging Paul along with DeAndre Ayton, whom the Suns were already expected to explore trades for this offseason. Ultimately though, no matter what they decide to do regarding Paul, the Suns' looming decision will have a significant impact on their short-term future. And with Phoenix very much in win-now mode following the Durant trade, it's a decision they can't afford to screw up. But what say you? Will CP3 be back in Phoenix next season? Or has the sun set on his time with the Suns?
You get it?
Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button. As always, we appreciate you. We'll see you next time.